If you think begging, explaining, or kissing will bring her back, you're walking straight into a dead end. Women didn't come back because of your words. They come back when your absence becomes louder than your presence ever was. In this video, I'm not giving you tricks. I'm giving you what actually flips the game. She will come back if you do this right. Stay till the end. Most men fail because they miss just one of these steps. Don't be one of them. Step 1. Withdraw all emotional access. When a woman pulls away or chooses to walk out, most men instinctively move into reactive mode. They chase, explain, justify, or worse, beg for her attention. What they fail to understand is that emotional access is a currency, and like any currency, when it's given away freely, it loses its value. You didn't realize how much emotional access you've been handing over until you see her walking away completely unaffected by your words or your efforts. This is when most men panic and start flooding her with even more attention. Calls, texts, apologies, long explanations, all of this does not pull her closer. It pushes her further. The more emotional access you give, the less mystery remains. The less mystery, the less value you hold in her emotional world. It's a game most men don't even know they are playing. You are fighting to be honest while she's growing more comfortable with your absence, withdrawing. Emotional access is not about playing games or manipulation. It's about reclaiming your self-respect and emotional control. Imagine for a moment how predictable it becomes when you keep showing up in her inbox. When you like her posts, when you respond within seconds to anything she does, that predictability kills. Attraction, emotional access is the energy you direct towards someone, the concern, their actions, the checking in. When you take all of that back, you create a void she hasn't felt before. Suddenly, you are not giving her the emotional feedback she was used to. She's no longer the center of your emotional attention. And that shift hits deeper than any words ever could. Women expect a man to chase when they leave. They expect him to fold, to run after, to keep trying. But when you do the opposite, when you simply stop giving her the luxury of your emotional energy, you instantly change the dynamic. You'll flip the script without saying a word, and here's what most don't get: withdrawing. Emotional access isn't about blocking her or cutting her off in anger. That's still a reaction. And reactions are still emotional investments. True withdrawal is silent, calm, and detached. You don't announce it. You don't make it a statement. You simply remove yourself from the emotional equation. You stop feeding the connection with your energy. You stop checking her status. Stop watching her stories. Stop liking her photos. Stop texting when you feel the urge. Every time you hold back, you take back a piece of your power. Every time you're just reacting, you rebuild your frame. Emotional withdrawal isn't loud. It's accurate, consistent refusal to play the game she expects you to play. It's letting her feel the absence of your energy in a world that thrives on constant validation and attention. She won't notice it immediately. And that's where most men fail. They expect instant results. They cave in when they don't see her coming back right away. But their real strength is in holding the line and letting your emotional silence be the loudest thing she hears. Step 2. Master your presence. Become unbothered, calm, and focused. Mastering your presence isn't about pretending to be different or forcing a fake sense of confidence. It's about developing a state of being where you are genuinely moved by circumstances beyond your control. Most men react impulsively when faced with emotional turbulence, especially in relationships. They allow their sense of self-worth to be dictated. A woman's actions, her mood, her silence, her withdrawal. This reactive instinct makes a man appear emotionally fragile and dependent. A man who hasn't mastered his presence operates like an open book, easy to read, easy to predict, and unfortunately easy to dismiss. But when you embody calmness and focus, you shift the power dynamics in your favor without needing to speak a single word. The calm man doesn't trust into emotional games, doesn't break under pressure, and doesn't seek validation through chasing. His very presence becomes a silent statement of self-assurance that commands respect and attention, even from those who once doubted him. Presence isn't just about physical appearance or superficial confines. It's about the energy you carry when you walk into a room, when you engage in a conversation, or even when you choose to stay silent. A man with mastered presence doesn't need to over-explain himself or prove a point. His calm demeanor speaks volumes. He listens more than he talks, observes more than reacts, and when he does speak or act, every move is intentional. Women notice this kind of presence not because it's loud, but because it's rare. In a world where most men crumble at the first sign of emotional discomfort, the man who remains composed stands out effortlessly. His lack of neediness, his refusal to be dragged into emotional chaos makes him appear grounded and in control. This kind of calm focus isn't born out of arrogance. It comes from a deep understanding of self and a commitment to never allow temporary emotions to dictate permanent decisions. To master your presence, you have to first master your internal dialogue. The stories you yodel yourself when she pulls away, when she ignores you, or when you feel rejected. Those thoughts either build you up or break you down. A man who is focused rewrites those narratives. Instead of thinking, "Why did she leave him?" he tells himself, "Her choices are hers, and mine is how I respond." This shift doesn't happen overnight, but with consistent practice, it rewires the way you handle emotional situations. When your mind is steady, your actions follow suit. You start investing in yourself, your purpose, your growth, your mission instead of obsessing over what you cannot control. Focus brings clarity, and clarity sharpens your presence. You stop acting out of fear or desperation. Best you realize your value isn't tied to anyone's approval. You become a man who isn't easily swayed by emotions, who doesn't fold under pressure, and who carries himself with ascendant confidence that speaks louder than any declaration. Step 3. Redirect your attention to your personal growth. When a woman leaves, most men immediately turn all their energy toward trying to fix the situation, fix her feelings, or fix themselves in a way that wins her back. They spiral into an emotional chase, analyzing every word said, stalking her social media, or seeking advice on how to make her change her mind. What they don't realize is that this entire cycle is rooted in a desperate need for external validation. They are placing their self-worth in someone else's hands, hoping that if they do or say the right thing, they will be chosen again. But this mindlessly pushes her further away because it screams insecurity. The truth is nothing is more repelling than a man who has lost his center and is chasing Samioneto give it back to him. The game changes entirely when a man decides to take all that energy he's pouring outward and channel it inward toward his personal growth, his discipline, and his mission. That shift rewrites the narrative from being a man seeking approval to a man building himself into someone who doesn't need it. Redirecting your attention toward personal growth isn't about becoming better for her. It's about becoming better for yourself. It's a decision to rise above emotional dependency and start investing in your evolution. You start by assessing areas of your life you've been neglecting. Your health, your career, your mindset, your purpose. Maybe you've been slacking on your physical discipline, losing your edge mentally, or drifting without clear goals. Now it's time to reverse that pattern. Every ounce of energy you would have wasted checking her status or wondering what she's thinking should be funneled into building a stronger version of yourself. Go back to the gym, not as a revenge body plan, but as a commitment to discipline. Read, learn, and grow mentally. Not to impress anyone, but to sharpen your own mind. Set goals for your career or personal projects that allow you to rise beyond your comfort zone. The man who works on himself relentlessly becomes naturally magnetic, because growth changes not just how you look, but how you carry yourself. As you redirect your attention, you also detach from the outcome with her. You stop moving from a place of trying to get her back and start moving from a place of getting yourself back. This creates a shift in energy she can't ignore. Women are drawn to men who are in motion. Men who are busy with purpose, grounded in their vision, and unfazed by external drama. When your focus is on becoming better, your emotional world stabilizes, and with that stability comes confidence. You stop seeking closure or chasing explanations because you realize those things don't define your value. Your journey of growth builds a silent yet undeniable presence. The irony is the moment you stop making her the center of your world is often the moment She starts noticing your world more than ever before. But by then, you'll have discovered that your worth was never due to her attention in the first place. Step 4. Let silence be your strongest statement. Silence is often misunderstood by men as doing nothing, as if being silent means accepting defeat or surrendering control of the situation. But in reality, silence is only of the most powerful forms of communication you have, especially in relationships. When a woman distances herself or tests your boundaries, your instinct might be to explain, defend, or justify. You want to make her understand how you feel, how much you care, or why things should be different. Yet every word you speak in those moments often falls on deaf ears because her emotions are not in a state to receive your explanations. Silence, on the other hand, carries a weight no amount of talking can match. It disrupts the pattern she expects from you. Instead of reacting, you choose restraint. Instead of explaining, you choose stillness. This isn't passive silence born out of fear or confusion. It's active silence. A conscious choice to let your lack of reaction speak volumes about your self-respect and emotional control. When you master the art of silence, you remove yourself from emotional tug-of-wars. You stop feeding into arguments, attention-seeking behavior, or manipulative tactics. Silence isn't about giving someone the cold shoulder out of spite. It's about setting a boundary without needing to explain that boundary. It's the statement that says, I will not entertain energy that does not align with my peace. Most people, especially women in emotionally charged situations, expect men to fight for attention, top lead to explain. They expect you to step into the emotional arena and validate their power by reacting. Your silence removes that power from theatable without creating more conflict. It forces the other person to sit with their own thoughts instead of focusing on your reactions. It leaves space for reflection, for realization, for curiosity to grow. The mind naturally gravitates toward what is absent. And when you are silent, your absence echoes louder than any emotional outburst ever called. Silence also protects your dignity in moments where words wouldn't make you look desperate or weak. Sometimes the best way to win a battle is not to engage in it at all. When you resist the urge to respond impulsively, you show a level of self-mastery most men never reach. You become the man who is controlled by fleeting emotions or provoked by temporary situations. That kind of discipline is rare and deeply respected, even if it's not immediately acted. The impact of your silence isn't always instant, and that's where most men lose patience. They break their silence too soon, looking for a reaction, hoping for a change. But silence works in the long term, not on your timeline. It's a slow burn, creating a space that forces the other person to notice the shift in dynamic. While words can be debated, twisted, or dismissed, silence stands as undeniable reality they can't argue with. It confronts them with the one thing they didn't expect: your absence, your peace, and your unwillingness to fight for something that no longer serves you. Step 5. Make her feel up, not chase to fill it. Most men, when a woman walks away or starts pulling back, instinctively rush in to close the gap. They reach out, they plead, they try to fix things. They throw words at the situation, hoping something sticks, hoping their effort will make her change her mind. What they fail to see is that by chasing to fill the gap, they actually kill their value in her eyes. They show her that they fear distance more than they respect themselves. That fear-driven behavior only pushes her further away because it confirms to her that she holds all power. The moment you try to fill the gap she created, you become predictable, easily available, and emotional dependent. You validate her decision topple away because you make it obvious that you can't stand on your own with their presence. The irony is that most men think this pursuit will win her back when in reality, it solidifies her decision to stay gone. The power is never in closing the gap, it's in letting her feel it. Space isn't your enemy, it's your strongest ally if you know how to use it. When you don't chase, when you allow the distance to exist without trying to shrink it, you send a silent message far louder than words. You're showing her that you are comfortable in your own world, even if she chooses not to be part of it. You're not punishing her with silence. or withdrawing to manipulate her emotions. You're simply refusing to devalue herself by begging for attention or forcing a connection that clearly needs space. This approach flips the script entirely. You go from being the man desperately trying to hold on to the Manuel, understands that some gaps need to be felt for the other person to realize what they lost. The absence of your energy, attention, and presence becomes a mirror for her. A mirror that reflects sexically what she took for granted, allowing her to feel the gap gives her space to process reality without your interference. When you're always there reaching out, trying to make things right, you shield her from fully experiencing the consequence of her actions. She never feels the weight of losing you. Bekaseu, never give her the chance to miss you. But when you step back completely, quietly, confidently, you create a vacuum. And human nature hates a vacuum. The mind starts to wonder, the heart starts to question, and curiosity starts to grow. She may not realize it immediately, but over time, the space you allowed begins to speak to her in ways your words never could. It's in that silence, that distance, that she gets a taste of life without you actively present. And if there was any real connection to begin with, fluid of that gap will pull her attention back toward you in a way no kissing ever would. Letting the gap exist is a test of your discipline, your self-respect, and your understanding of power in relationships. Step 6. Allow time to make her curious, not your words. Most men rush to fill the silence with explanations, reassurances, or desperate attempts to fix what feels broken. They believe that if they just say the right words, send the right message, or express their feelings in the perfect way, she will somehow have a change of heart. But what they fail to grasp is that words, especially when spoken too soon or too often, lose their impact entirely. The more you explain, the less she hears. The more you try to convince her, the more she resists. And the more you chase with words, the more she emotionally distances herself. Words can only reach her when she's in a state to listen. And most of the time, when emotions are high or distance is fresh, she's anything but ready to hear you. That's why allowing time to work in your favor is a move most men overlook. They think doing nothing means losing the battle. But in reality, patience is the most powerful strategy you can apply when a woman pulls away. Time dosumething words never can. It creates a security. When you stop talking, stop reaching out, and stop trying to manage her perception of you, you leave a space wide open for her mind to wander. And this is where real power shifts happen. The human mind naturally fills in blanks. When you step back completely and give her nothing to read, nothing to react to, and nothing to explain, her curiosity begins to grow on its own. She starts to wonder why you've gone quiet, why you're no longer seeking her attention, why you seem completely at ease without her involvement in your life. That curiosity starts subtle, maybe a passing thought or a randomment of wondering about you. But over time, if you remain silent and patient, that curiosity intensifies. What started as a brief thought turns into a lingering question. And unlike your words, curiosity is something she creates within herself, which means it's 10 times more powerful than anything you could say. Letting do the work also shows her something most men never demonstrate: emotional control. It proves that you are not desperate, that you are not emotionally fragile, and that you respect yourself enough to not chase validation. It tells her without saying a word that you are a man who understands that real attraction is never forced. You allow the silence and the distance to speak for you. You trust process enough to know that if there's a real connection, curiosity will pull her back stronger than any words ever could. And in the meantime, you're not waiting on her return to move forward with your life. You are building yourself, working on your growth, and staying committed to your path. The paradox is that the less you try to make her curious, the more curious she becomes. Time becomes your silent ally, stretching the distance between you just enough for her to start missing what she once had without you lifting a finger or speaking a single word. In the end, it's simple. Women don't come back because you convince them. They come back when your absence forces them to feel fluid of your presence. Stop chasing, stop explaining, and stop fighting battles that require your silence, not your words. Withdraw your emotional axis. Master your calm presence. Redirect your focus to your growth. Let your silence speak. Make her feel the gap you once filled, and allow time, not desperation, to bring her curiosity back to you. This isn't a strategy. This is self-respect in action. Be the man Sherry members because you had the strength to walk away first and mean.